My dear friends, let us continue this conversation as if we are still sitting together in a quiet kitchen, sipping warm tea. I want to talk about something that often seems so ordinary we forget its power, the food we put on our plates every single day. I once had a patient named Robert, 72 years old. He told me, "Doctor, at my age, it doesn't matter anymore. I'll just eat what I want." And for him, that usually meant processed foods, white bread, fried meat, sugary drinks. He thought it was harmless indulgence. But slowly his energy faded. His blood sugar spiked, his knees grew stiff, and he struggled to walk even a block without pain. When I encouraged him to try something different, adding seasonal greens, grilled fish, a handful of almonds, maybe a bowl of oatmeal in the morning, he laughed at first. But a few months later, Robert came back to me, smiling like a child. "Doctor, I can walk again without stopping. I even sleep better." Isn't it remarkable? Just small changes, small choices, can give back life in ways medicine sometimes cannot. I want you to imagine this. Every meal is like a conversation with your body. When you choose fresh vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins, you are whispering to your heart, "I care for you." You are telling your bones, "Stay strong." You are reminding your brain, "Keep the memories alive." But when we load our plates with sugar, processed meat, and greasy food, it is like shouting at our body, "I have forgotten you." Science supports this truth in the simplest way. Balanced nutrition after 50 stabilizes blood sugar, protects the heart, and lowers the risk of dementia. Yet I don't want to pre you in statistics. Instead, I want to ask you, when was the last time you felt truly alive after finishing a meal, instead of heavy, sleepy, or guilty? Think of your body as a garden. At this stage of life, the soil may not be as fertile as it once was, but it is still capable of blooming if you choose the right seeds. Vegetables, nuts, whole grains, fish, eggs, these are the seeds of vitality. And the harvest is not just years of life, but years filled with strength, clarity, and joy. So my friends, I share this with you not as a lecture, but as someone who has walked alongside thousands of patients over decades. I've seen bodies decline, but I've also seen them rise again with nothing more magical than a colorful, mindful plate of food. Nourishing yourself is not a burden. It is an act of love, a daily promise to live fully. Of course, my friends, let us keep walking together on this path. There is something deeply poetic about the way food connects us not only to our bodies, but also to our memories and relationships. I often tell my patients, every meal carries a story. Do you remember the taste of your grandmother's soup or the smell of freshly baked bread in your childhood home? Those memories live within us, and they remind us that eating is not only about survival, it is about love, about tradition, about giving care. I once treated a woman named Helen, 65 years old. She confessed that after her husband passed away, she stopped cooking. "Doctor," she said, "what's the point of making a nice meal when I'm the only one at the table?" And so, day after day, she relied on packaged snacks and microwave dinners. Her health declined, but more than that, her spirit grew dim. I gently encouraged her to invite a neighbor over once a week to cook something simple together. Steamed vegetables, grilled chicken, a pot of brown rice. Weeks later, she told me with tears in her eyes, "I feel alive again. I didn't just feed my body, I fed my soul." Balanced nutrition is not about restriction or punishment. It is about reclaiming joy in the simplest things, the crunch of a fresh apple, the warmth of a bowl of lentil soup, the earthy taste of roasted vegetables. These foods do more than keep your blood sugar stable. They give your life color and rhythm. I want you to reflect for a moment. When was the last time you ate a meal slowly, savoring each bite without rushing to the next task? Did you notice how your body felt afterward? Did you feel lighter, calmer, more present? If not, then perhaps it is time to begin again, to treat your meals not as chores, but as moments of gratitude. After more than 35 years in medicine, I have seen one truth repeat itself. The human body is incredibly forgiving. Even if you have spent decades eating poorly, the moment you begin to nourish it with fresh, balanced food, it responds. Your heart beats stronger. Your mind becomes clearer. Your energy returns. It is never too late to plant new seeds. So I say this as a friend who wants the best for you. Honor your meals, honor yourself. Your plate can be your medicine, your daily prayer, and your greatest gift to the years ahead. There is a quiet wisdom in the way our bodies speak to us after 50. Sometimes it comes as gentle signals, a heaviness after too much fried food, a sudden burst of energy after a fresh salad, a peaceful night's sleep after a light dinner of vegetables and soup. Other times the signals are louder, blood sugar readings creeping higher, blood pressure rising, or joints aching after years of neglect. These are not punishments. They are invitations, reminders that it is time to care for ourselves differently. I recall one of my longtime patients, Thomas, 70 years old. For years, he struggled with fatigue. He told me, "Doctor, I thought tiredness was just part of getting old." But when we looked closely at his diet, it was clear. Too much refined bread, sugary coffee, hardly any vegetables. I encouraged him to try small steps. Swap white bread for whole grain, add a handful of spinach to his omelet, snack on a few walnuts instead of cookies. Within months, he came back with a sparkle in his eyes. "I feel 10 years younger," he said. That was not magic. It was simply the power of balanced nutrition awakening his body. Science gives us the explanation. Whole grains release energy slowly, keeping blood sugar steady. Leafy greens are packed with antioxidants that protect the heart and brain. Nuts and seeds provide healthy fats that nourish our nerves. But beyond the science, there is something more important: the way these foods make us feel. After a meal of wholesome, balanced food, we don't just live, we thrive. So I ask you, what kind of energy do you want to carry into your 60s, 70s, even 80s? Do you want to wake up heavy and sluggish? Or do you want to rise with lightness, ready to walk, laugh, and embrace the day? The choice begins on your plate. Balanced nutrition is not about perfection. It's not about strict rules or giving up everything you love. It is about harmony. It is about creating meals that bring both health and joy. A colorful plate full of greens, grains, and proteins is not just food. It is medicine, memory, and love, all served at once. So, my friends, let us treat each meal as an opportunity to protect the heart, to steady the blood sugar, to strengthen the bones, and most of all, to honor the gift of life we still have. Because at the end of the day, good food is not just about adding years to your life. It is about adding life to your years. I want you to imagine this. Inside your body lives an entire universe, trillions of tiny organisms working day and night. Some of them protect you, some of them guide your digestion, some even send signals to your brain that influence your mood. We often forget this hidden world exists, but it is there, shaping our health every single day. And one of the gentlest ways to nourish this universe is through fermented foods: yogurt, sauerkraut, kimchi, or a spoon of natural pickles. They may look simple on the plate, but inside they are alive with friendly bacteria that become our allies. Paragraph 6. I recall a patient named Evelyn, 66 years old. She used to suffer from constant bloating and fatigue. She told me, "Doctor, I feel heavy even after a light meal." Instead of reaching first for medication, I encouraged her to add a small bowl of plain yogurt each morning, and sometimes a side of fermented vegetables with her lunch. Weeks later, she returned with a bright smile. "I feel lighter, and my stomach no longer rules my day." This was not a miracle drug. It was the simple gift of probiotics, helping her digestion work smoothly, strengthening her immunity, and even lifting her mood. So paragraph 7. Science has shown us that after 50, our gut microbiome, the community of microbes inside us, tends to lose diversity. Stress, processed food, and even some medications can weaken it. But fermented foods act like gardeners, planting new life into that inner soil. They help us absorb nutrients more efficiently, protect against infections, and balance our immune system. I often say to my patients, if your gut is happy, your whole body becomes happy. And isn't it true? When digestion is calm, energy flows better, sleep comes easier, and even the mind feels more peaceful. Paragraph 8. So I want to ask you, when was the last time you truly enjoyed the tang of fresh yogurt or the crunch of a homemade pickle? These are not just flavors. They are reminders that healing can be simple, accessible, and even joyful. Balanced, moderate amounts of fermented foods can be a daily act of self-love, a way of saying to your body, I want you to thrive. After more than 35 years as a physician, I have seen medications help, yes, but I have also witnessed the quiet, steady power of these natural foods. My friends, let us not underestimate the wisdom of tradition. For centuries, people preserved food by fermentation, and in doing so, preserved their health. Perhaps it is time we listen again. My dear friends, I want to invite you to pause for a moment and think about your body, not as a machine that is breaking down with age, but as a river. A river stays fresh and clear only when it flows. The moment it stops moving, it grows stagnant, cloudy, and full of debris. Our bodies after 50 are very much the same. Movement is not just about muscles and joints. It is about keeping the river of life inside us flowing freely. I remember one of my patients, Mr. James, who was 68 when I first met him. He told me, Doctor, I think exercise is for younger people. At my age, I just want to rest. But his rest was not refreshing. It was filled with stiffness, poor sleep, and constant fatigue. I gently asked him to try something simple, a 20-minute walk around his neighborhood each morning. At first, he struggled, pausing often to catch his breath, but he persisted. 3 months later, he came to my clinic, walking with confidence, a light in his eyes. Doctor, he said with a smile, I feel like I've opened a new chapter of my life. His blood pressure had improved, his blood sugar was steadier, and his mood was brighter. All of that from nothing more than consistent, gentle movement. I want you to imagine this for yourself. Picture the sun rising, the air still cool and fresh. You step outside, your feet moving slowly at first, then with rhythm. With every step, your blood begins to circulate, your lungs expand, your heart beats stronger. It is not exercise in the harsh sense of the word. It is simply waking up your body, reminding it that life is still here, still vibrant. Science supports what our hearts already know. Just 30 minutes of physical activity a day, whether walking, yoga, or gentle stretching, lowers the risk of heart disease, strengthens bones, and even sharpens memory. But beyond the research, there is a deeper truth. Movement gives us dignity. It gives us freedom. It allows us to play with our grandchildren, tend the garden, or dance slowly with the person we love. So I ask you, when was the last time you moved not because you had to, but because it felt good? When was the last time you stretched your arms to the sky, breathed deeply, and felt alive? My friends, daily movement is not a punishment, nor is it a race. It is a gift you can give yourself, a promise that even after 50, 60, or 70, the river within you will keep flowing strong and clear. All it takes is half an hour a day and a heart willing to begin. My dear friends, I want to speak with you today about something invisible, yet powerful enough to shape every beat of your heart, every drop of sugar in your blood, every night of your sleep. That is stress. At our age, many people believe stress is simply a part of life we must endure. But I have learned, after decades as a physician, that unmanaged stress is like a silent storm. It erodes our health slowly until one day we wonder why our blood pressure isn't high, why our heart races at night, or why our blood sugar refuses to stay balanced. I remember a patient of mine, Mrs. Clara, who was 64. She came to me with trembling hands and uncontrolled diabetes, though she was taking all the right medicines. When I asked about her life, she broke down in tears. Doctor, she whispered, I take care of everyone else, my grandchildren, my husband, my neighbors, but I never stopped to take care of myself. Her body was not failing because of age. It was crying out from years of stress carried silently. Together, we started with something very simple, 10 minutes of deep breathing in the morning, and a notebook where she could write her thoughts each night. Slowly, her numbers began to improve, but more importantly, her smile returned. I want you to imagine this. You are sitting in your chair at the end of the day, the house quiet. You close your eyes, take a slow, deep breath, and let it go. In that moment, the storm inside you begins to calm. Your heart slows, your shoulders soften, your mind feels lighter. This is not fantasy, it is the real power of managing stress. Science has shown that chronic stress releases hormones like cortisol, which disturb blood sugar, raise blood pressure, and weaken the immune system. But when we practice relaxation through breathing, journaling, or simply sharing our worries with a trusted friend, we reverse that effect. The body, like a garden after rain, begins to heal itself. So I ask you, my friends, when was the last time you truly allowed yourself to rest? Not just your body, but your mind. When did you last speak openly about your burdens or put pen to paper to release what your heart could not carry alone? Life after 50 should not be lived in a cage of worry. It is a season to let go, to breathe deeper, to love yourself enough to say, I matter too. Managing stress is not selfish. It is essential, because only when your spirit is calm can your body truly thrive. My dear friends, there is something I wish more people would see, not as a burden, but as a gift: the routine health checkup. After the age of 50, our bodies begin to change more quickly. Some of those changes are gentle, like silver hair or softer skin, but others hide quietly, unseen. High blood pressure, rising cholesterol, or creeping blood sugar often give no warning until it is too late. That is why I tell my patients, a checkup is not about finding illness. It is about protecting life. I remember a gentleman named Richard, 62 years old, who came to see me because his daughter insisted. He told me, half joking, "Doctor, I feel fine. I don't need all these tests." Yet when we checked, his blood pressure was dangerously high and his blood sugar was already in the diabetic range. He was shocked. "But I had no symptoms," he said. That's the thing. Many of the most serious conditions after 50 arrive like thieves in the night, silent and invisible. Because he came when he did, we were able to change his diet, add light exercise, and begin simple treatment. A year later, he was healthier than he had been in a decade. I want you to imagine this. Your body is like a house you have lived in for many years. The paint may be fading, the pipes may creak, but you don't always notice what's happening behind the walls. A regular inspection doesn't mean your house is falling apart. It means you are wise enough to prevent small cracks from becoming disasters. The same is true of your body. A simple check of weight, blood pressure, blood sugar, and cholesterol every 6 to 12 months can be the difference between a problem that is easily managed and one that steals your freedom. Science is clear on this. Early detection saves lives. But beyond the science, there is peace of mind. When you know your numbers, you carry less fear. You no longer wonder in silence, is something wrong with me? You have clarity, and with clarity comes strength. So I ask you, when was the last time you gave yourself this gift? Not for your doctor, not for your family, but for yourself. To honor the years you still have, to protect the moments you want to enjoy, walking with your grandchildren, laughing with your friends, waking up each morning without worry. My friends, I have spent more than 35 years watching lives transformed not by dramatic surgeries or powerful drugs, but by the quiet wisdom of regular care. A checkup is not about fear. It is about love. Love for your body, love for your future, love for the people who still need you here. Would you like me to continue this topic into a part 2, where I expand with more patient stories and practical advice on how to prepare for and make the most out of these checkups? My dear friends, today I want to sit down with you as two old friends sharing a quiet cup of tea in the afternoon to talk about something that may seem simple, yet holds the power to decide both our health and our longevity: daily nutrition. After the age of 50, many people believe that the body is already old and eating is just about getting by, as long as it fills the stomach. But have you noticed? The very way we choose our food each day is the key to protecting our heart, our eyes, our joints, and even our memory. I remember one of my patients, Margaret, 67 years old. She once said to me, "Doctor, I'll eat anything as long as it's easy to cook and quick. I don't have the energy for anything complicated." Yet at every checkup, her blood sugar was high, her knees hurt, and walking became difficult. When I encouraged her to make just a few small changes, adding seasonal greens, choosing grilled fish instead of fried red meat, including a little soy, a handful of walnuts or almonds, after just a few months she returned with a radiant smile. I'm sleeping better, my joints hurt less, and my blood sugar is finally under control. You see, a single small choice at the table can transform not only the body, but also the spirit. I want you to imagine this. Your meal is like a piece of music. If it is made only of fatty meats and refined starches, it is a harsh, monotonous tune that quickly exhausts you. But when you add crisp green vegetables, hearty whole grains, the aroma of grilled fish, or even a simple boiled egg, that meal becomes a gentle symphony, nourishing every vessel and every cell. Medical research has shown that people over 50 who maintain a diet rich in vegetables, healthy proteins, and whole grains not only control blood sugar, but also lower the risk of heart disease and dementia. Yet I don't want to bury you in dry statistics. Instead, I want you to ask yourself, when was the last time I truly sat down to enjoy a slow, colorful, and nourishing meal? Our bodies, after so many seasons of life, are like gardens weathered by sun and wind. If you continue to plant good seeds, greens, grains, fish, beans, your garden will still bloom, still flourish, no matter your age. But if you neglect it, feeding it only fast food, sugar, and grease, then before long that garden will wither. I share this not as a lecture, but as someone who has walked ahead of you and wants to remind you, take care of your meals, because they are the most precious gift you can give your health and the years you have left. If you found these insights helpful, please hit subscribe and share this video with your friends so that more people can discover this truth. Health and longevity begin with the simplest things. And tonight, start with your very own sleep.